Um, just so that everybody knows, Dine Alone is not a sponsor
Vinyl is not a sponsor.
yet.
I haven't shaved today,
Okay.
and I haven't showered today. Thus, I'm wearing a ball cap.
Did you see my hair today? I said, let me try the Gregg Tilston. It doesn't work. My hair is curly.
Mhm.
So it goes and then it
You
just
look a
like
little more like Malcolm Gladwell.
Malcolm, oh, there's another photo of me from a year and a half ago
Yes, I remember that one.
where it's like that. But I embarrassed myself on the last, not the last podcast. Well, depending on how we time this,
3 podcasts ago. Yeah.
a couple of podcasts ago, when I was asked
Yes.
by, the producer, the director of Revival '69, if I knew how to play guitar,
Yes.
and I only know one song. But like in the moment, I didn't
Apparently, you don't
know.
even know one chord.
I didn't know like I couldn't remember the chords because of the pressure
Not chords.
of
Don't
live
go
television.
plural. Don't go plural.
I know two
Singular
chords.
chord.
So Greg, if I may,
You gonna put the pick in your mouth?
should I put it in my mouth?
You know what the funny thing is? I just finished editing that episode, so
Yeah.
this is perfect.
Okay.
This is
Should I
perfect.
keep it in my mouth?
It's up to you.
Who's there's a famous
I mean,
guitarist.
you couldn't remember it the last time. I'm not gonna remember this time. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll have to Google it. But
No.
okay, I'm gonna leave it in my mouth only because of the sound. I'll see if the sound comes through. Okay, hold on. What are the chords again? Okay, I know the chord. Here you go. This is a song by Buffalo Springfield, which everybody knows Neil Young was a member of. I don't need to tell our listeners that. They know. Okay. Does it come through?
Yeah.
Something happening here, but it ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there, telling me I got to beware. Where I think stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Not bad. Not bad. Not bad. You'll edit it so it sounds better.
No saving that one, buddy. No saving that one.
Hi, the following podcast is brought to you by Radical Road Brewery, the best craft beer in the heart of Leslieville. Find them at 1177 Queen Street East. That's Radical Road Brewery.
Hello, everyone. I am Harkness, a Toronto artist. I've been underground forever, just creeping up like a volcanic phoenix or something of that ilk. And I'm now going to be interviewed on Welcome to the Music.
Welcome. Perfect. Harkness, it's so great to have you on the show. I know we're going to talk about music, but as a foodie, I got to first ask the hot sauce. I got to know.
Oh,
hot sauce. Tell me about it.
hot sauce. So
Yeah?
the hot sauce. So to facilitate making music and paying musicians, because I use only real musicians, I've been working in the food industry, I guess, as it were. And, you spend a lot of hours there. And instead of just looking at the clock, or if there's dead time, I'll go talk to the chefs and pick their brains because I love food. So I'll learn how to sear this and cook a duck breast and all the rest of it. But one day, this guy came in after a super late night. He was, I think he was still drunk, but he said, "Harkness, last night I made the most unbelievable hot sauce," which led to me tasting it. It was fantastic and inspired me to try to make my own. I got what I could have out of his drunken memory of how he did it. And then I probably made 75 to 100 different batches, variations. And I would bring in just about every single one to all these chefs and a little more of this. What if I try that? And so I had all these brains on it too, with what input I could do.
Yeah.
And so I came up with a hot sauce, a Harkness hot sauce that I think is just extremely yummy with a kick. Nothing, I mean, I can make it as hot as I want, but I have it at this medium thing so you could drink it from the bottle or eat it with a spoon. And it's just this yummier hot sauce. And one of the thinkings is too, sometimes I've gone to Mexico and got killer hot sauce and you just need a drop or two in that's enough in your soup. But this is like almost like ketchup hot sauce. And people will go through it and they'll just, I need more. It's not something that lasts 6 months. It's something like in a week, I need more Harkness hot sauce. So, yeah. And
awesome.
Also, I don't know if you guys know this, that I've got 19 episodes of a Harkness cooking show. You heard anything about that? I haven't put any of them out, but it's a psychedelic rock and roll cooking show with no kitchen, but a green screen. So it's me with all these visual effects. And if I point, could be spinach or basil or a monkey face or a skeleton or whatever. It's just crazy, crazy stuff full of my music and drawings and recipes and cooking. And it's just crazy, crazy stuff. But the reason I'm doing that is so I established myself as this chef. There's also, it's overdubbed with a French chef voice. It's just bizarre as you can possibly imagine. Something that if you're high and you stumble upon on YouTube, you will get sucked right in. But I'm trying to establish a little bit about when I arrive to town and I've got my albums, my T-shirts, and my hot sauce, my jerk marinades, that it's not like that. Yeah, Harkness is a chef as well as this, and he's got a cooking show, so it's no surprise when you see food products. And
that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's really awesome. I've got to get some hot sauce, and I didn't know about
I will happily send you some on me.
I got to get jerk sauce too, because my 2 sons who are in their 20s now just love hot sauce and jerks, and so got to get them some of that. So,
all right.
Thanks for sharing.
We'll send you our address. Thanks for coming on the Welcome to the Foodie show. It's been a blast.
Exactly.
Having you, Harkness.
Get our priorities straight.
Yeah. Food.
Yeah.
You just got back from the UK.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about the shows you played there. How was that?
Well, first of all, I mean, the whole reason I went to the UK is because I got lucky enough that this young filmmaker met me, opened the door and met me pretty much like this and said, "What the hell is this?" I brought them to the studio, showed them a few videos, showed them a little bit of what I did. And before I knew it, there's a feature-length film being made on Harkness.
Yeah.
And because of that, they flew me over to the UK to do shows. And it's just been a godsend. This director's name is Masha, and it's being produced by Storyline Entertainment. And it's quite insane the amount of interest in it and the funding that's behind it. The whole MTV's playing my videos now, and it's all bizarre from a guy who's been underground for so long and kind of innocently came out. Now I'm being flown to the UK without me asking for it, so we went to the UK and I did a couple of shows, and I did a third show that was a Q&A. It was a master class at a university.
Whoa.
Which I've never done, but I did a performance, my whole set, and then Q&A with the students, and had to talk all while being filmed, and what is this life kind of thing. But it's been unbelievable. And I'd spent time in the UK too many years ago playing music, playing different pubs, and had a lot of friends there that I hadn't seen in over a decade. So I got to have homecoming with them, played shows that they came to, played with a few musicians that I used to play with. It was just a trip of a lifetime. It's incredible.
Oh, that's fantastic. That is great to hear.
Wow.
Yeah, when I heard about the music thing, I go, wait a second, this guy's just coming now. Like, why is there all of a sudden a documentary made? But when you tell it like it was just serendipitous that this
Yeah.
young lady, getting started in her career as well, thought there was a story.
What's interesting is this. The story is that, the long story is that I was a little kid born of musician parents and just
Yeah.
music. And I've been in the basement for, I'm going to say decades, right? And making music without any care of sharing it or worry of sharing it or no one over my shoulder.
Mhm.
And the moment that I decided I have to share it. That's how it felt. It's like I played it back. It was like, I got it. What the hell? I got to share this. Let's give it a shot. The moment I decided to even try, I had no idea how I was going to go about it. I met this young gal.
Okay.
And just as we met, I said, yeah, I've got this music. I played a bunch. She's like, whoa. And I showed her a few other things. And I said, I'm going to try to share this with the world. And she said, let me get my camera. And so she's been following every step for the last 3 years.
Oh, wow.
And now I'm where I'm at now. And it's a tough slog trying to get anybody to listen or care. But I've been knocking on every door I can and playing shows. And some shows are well attended and some there's 2 people there. I mean, it's been wild, really, really. I mean, I love every minute of it, but it's been a grind.
Mm-hmm.
She's got it all on film.
Yeah. So it's interesting because, I mean, you talk about it's over the last 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
We know it's happened globally over the last 3 years.
Oh God, yeah.
So I'm assuming you didn't go into it with the global pandemic as part of it. More, the global pandemic is
just
happening.
As I was
well, it's yeah.
And it was, I was one of those people you hear about that the pandemic affected less than others. And so in the service industry, a lot of us got served for a while and X amount of money and just enough to get by. So I wasn't hurting terribly, but I could spend a lot of time woodshedding and reaching out to people and doing hours and hours of XYZ, trying this, trying that. And I think I've tried just about every possible route to share music and get it out there. And maybe wasted a hell of a lot of time, but you just have to try everything, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I spent thousands and thousands of hours. And sometimes I don't know if I have anything to show for it. I know I do. But sometimes I'm not so sure. But the reality is that I do get DMs from people all over the world telling me how much it's inspiring them and all that stuff. It's something's happening for sure.
Nice.
But I want to arrive at a venue and have it fucking line up and turned away at the door, and Harkness is fucking playing. Like, you got to be there. That's not happening quite yet. But that's where I think we're headed. It's just hot ticket.
Awesome.
So your parents brought music into the home based on what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
And you ended up, playing with a lot of really cool bands.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen Stars live, and they're a hoot to watch perform, and they got some great tunes.
How old are you? A hoot?
I just had a birthday, buddy. You know how old I am.
Yeah. Right.
Sorry, I
You're fucking awesome. You want me to swear now? I got like a kid.
Sure.
One of the coolest musicians I played with, though, was a woman named Nicolette, who I think might still be making music, but she was someone who, when I was in the London days, was creating a lot of storm, and Bjork would come to be backstage and hang out. And I mean, she was attracting the top of the top because of how free she was and great she was. We played places like the Montreux Jazz Festival and all over Europe together. And she let me do what she was, the kind of leader who said, you play bass, you play this, and do whatever the F you want. She barely spoke a word. She kind of almost the way people describe Prince, barely said a word. And I could just create any music on the bass behind her that I would just react to her, and she never told me what to do. And it was really freeing. It was actually footage of the Montreux. We found the footage of the Montreux Jazz Festival recently, just as they do those kind of things for the documentary, just trying to find information. It's really fun stuff. But the Stars that I was in was actually a different band called the Stars. I know the Stars you're talking about.
All right.
I won't go there. We had the name first. I'll put it that.
Okay.
I think.
Now maybe your Stars was the Hoot. That's that came.
It was a Hoot. Yeah. I've always been into the visuals up to a point, and that Stars band was ridiculous. We had Clark Gable.
All right.
Ashes and mini tramps, and we were playing places like Spadina Hotel, like the tiniest venues, but with mini tramps and Clark Gable mustache. I mean, there's not surprised it didn't quite work out. You know, it was.
What was the impetus or the what influenced you to say I need to do my own thing? Instead of being part of something, I want to go and I want to be the show.
Yeah, great question. And it was simply the music in my head, and it was different from the guitar-based trios that I was in and rock bands, and I would come to those bands with a song idea, knowing that I was hearing French horns and bassoons in the bass line and steel drums doing accents, but I would just have guitars to work with. And I just kept on compromising in my own mind and thinking, okay, I'll do the rock version of all these tunes. And finally, I just said, life's too short. And I talked to a friend who had a studio, and he was a guy who worked 9 to 5, and then he'd come home from his 9 to 5, and he'd work in a studio all night, then 9 to 5. And I said, well, while you're 9 to 5ing it, if I pay you, can I get keys to your studio? And I got that initially and tried. I did 4 songs, a 4-song EP a long time ago with French horns and all that jazz. And all that I dreamt of, I realized, anything I can think of or hear is possible. And then I got my own studio, which I'm sitting in now in my mom's basement, really humble, but just a few channels of really high quality sound. That's all I need. And I can only do 2 mics at once. I can't do a full drum set and all that, but I just layer things one at a time. And I did anything you've ever heard Harkness wise is done in a tiny little studio. And but you sit there and go, I need a koto for this, or I need a harp or timpani. And I would just say to any musician out there, you can do whatever the hell you want. There's no reason you can't find a timpani or tuba or whatever. So I just about at the kitchen sink in this place.
Did you I read somewhere, Harkness, that you literally spent a decade writing and recording. During that time, you're probably not looking, okay, I'm going to do this for 10 years. And then, you probably thought I'm going to do this for a couple of months or whatever the time frame was. But I'm curious, at any point in time, did you think, well, I'm just going to continue serving in the restaurant or working in the food services industry? And if this music sees the light of day, then it does. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm curious about, your thoughts as between now and 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting in that I worked in a kind of timeless space for sure, which is how 10 years go by in the blink of an eye. And even though it's kind of documented that it took me 10 years to make this album, I would have another 35, 40 songs going on and have tons of other material and another 4 or 5 albums written and that kind of stuff, not all recorded. But it took so long because I had my hands in so many songs and so many pots all at the same time. And then I realized at a certain point, hey, these 10 songs have migrated together and I love them as a cluster, and that's an album. And oh, wow, like it feels something like, whoa, it's shaking. But I would also say that having no intentions of sharing it, but the crazy thing, and I hope a lot of artists relate to this, and I hope you guys relate to it too. I've always had a strange intuition that that if I just what is it, the Field of Dreams thing? If I just make it, it's going to happen. But man, does it take a lot of work and effort once you make the music. And I think I got unbelievably lucky with this film. I think it could be the only thing that saves my ass.
Okay.
I think maybe without the film, there's just so much white noise out there to kind of get through. And even with this look and everything, it's cutting through the noises proved to be unbelievably difficult. But now hopefully if the film gets put out, that'll help a lot. But I definitely had maybe a foolish intuition that it's all going to be okay. Like you just do whatever you do, just 10 years, 20 years, doesn't matter. It's the world's going to hear what you're doing, bro, kind of thing. And I just was so into the music and felt so strong about it every moment that I was doing it, and just felt like it had wings no matter what. And I was kind of foolish, but that's how it always felt.
Yeah. I mean, so, hopefully the documentary, the film does sort of lead to this, who the heck is this guy and what's his music all about?
Yeah.
But you also referenced your look.
Mm-hmm.
So for those listening and not watching on YouTube, but for those listening to the audio podcast, first of all, describe your look.
Yeah, well, I went for something extremely simple, so I didn't have to care about my hair or shirts or fashion or follow anything or give a fuck about anything. I could roll out of bed and put this on. So it's a robe, looks like a nightgown. It's a robe that I poke my head through with a hood that, again, covers my hair. Only my face is revealed, so I don't have to worry about a single thing. And then I have a visor that's got a reflective mirror over my nose and eyes. And, the idea being that the audience does see themselves. If they look at me, you're going to see yourself reflected in what I do, that kind of silly stuff. And then I've got some really cool women's boots that I am shaking.
Look at that! Even wearing the boots for the podcast. Look at that.
Yeah, wearing the boots. You gotta feel. You gotta be all in. So I'm all in. But they are. I mean, they're Doc Marten killer boots, and I'm gonna joke around about the women's things, but they finish this thing nicely, and I feel great, and it's unbelievably comfortable. I can kick, I can jump, I can swing my arms, and there's no tension. And it's all I ever dreamt of, and just put it all together.
So tell me about the reason for I don't know whether it's a reason for this particular look or a reason for how you wanted to present yourself.
Yeah, well, I think the main thing was that I wanted the music to speak and not a person or an individual or an idea or an opinion. I just wanted it to be this free thing that had nothing to do with anybody or anybody's ideas. Or I know that some of my favorite artists, I love them because the music represents them directly. This music that I'm making for the most part doesn't represent me necessarily, but human experience on a whole, or the universal feeling of the wind on your skin. That's not mine, that's ours kind of thing. It's just an ours vibe. So I didn't want some guy in a flannel shirt going up, I won't even say my name, some Bob up there. This is beyond Bob and everything. And so I wanted to be absolutely anonymous. And the name of the studio is anonymous. The name of my first band was anonymous. And then that, I think, was taken. And then I was called The Listener. So it would be about you guys, not me.
Okay.
Listener. Some rapper called me from Florida. Hey, man, that's my name. And couldn't use that. And in the end, I chose Harkness, which is my last name. And it's the last thing I would want is to be associated to my name. But it has hark, as in hark who goes there, or sound, hark the angels sing. And I just thought, oh, fuck, that's it, just Harkness. And,
all right.
And went with that. But I guess what I'm wearing is an attempt to dissolve the self, have nobody home, and let something else come through. Something has nothing to do with me. And it feels that way too. I think that if I did sit here with an acoustic guitar without all this, I would feel self-conscious and I would feel kind of present. This, I can disappear into the music a lot easier. When I start playing, I'm so gone,
Interesting.
Yeah, it helps.
So Harkness, as we come to the end of this, first of all, I just want to say I had an opportunity to listen to a few songs off of your debut album, The Occasion, which came out a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to expect because I saw you first. Like I said, okay, what kind of music am I going to hear? I heard the title track.
Did you listen to the whole thing?
I listened to the whole thing, but I stuck on the title track.
Yeah.
And I listened to that one, and I think because it's also on YouTube.
There's a shorter version on YouTube, like a 4-minute version.
Yeah, so I think that's the one I landed on a few times. Okay. And I said, no, this is fuck. Like I'm rock and roll. They said, okay, I like this stuff. This stuff is great. It's like I said, do I hear Lennon in there? Do I hear the Beatles? Sgt. Pepper's in there. So fascinating. So great music, I must say.
Thank you.
And I highly recommend people check you out.
Appreciate it.
On YouTube and on the streaming services. Harkness, I know you sent us a video.
Oh yeah.
Which has a number of I guess different songs or performances on there. But if you could, I don't know, if just intro when people come to that and listen to it on the podcast or watch it on YouTube, maybe you can just do a quick intro and just intro what people are gonna be experiencing when they get to that part.
Sure. So as you'll see when you watch this live video, my show's a little bit outside of the box. I've got suspended instruments. I might play the guitar and the verse and the bass and the chorus and do a keyboard solo all in one song as I move from instrument to instrument. And you'll see that in the video. This is the first public show I've done, having dreamt up this show.
Yeah.
Dreamt up the show. Can it be done? Yeah, it can be done. All the technical things being triggered on and off. And so this is my first attempted performance that you're going to see. And I've since done a handful of shows, and it's a well-oiled machine. But I think you'll still get the idea of what I'm shooting for. And I'm not sure whether it shows, but I had lots of decorative art around. I'm not sure if it's in this video, but I'm expanding it. I want to do it with a drummer, but this is ground level Harkness.
Greg, you had a couple of questions to wrap things up.
Perfect. So thanks for sharing that. I had a couple of questions for you.
Sure.
One, unlike the Stars, which is not the band Stars, so you have to excuse my co-host for him. He hosts a music podcast, but doesn't quite know music. You know what I mean? Anyway, we'll put that aside. No, one of the people you work with, I'd love to just talk just a quick bit about. And okay, Paul Humphreys.
Yes.
Paul Humphreys. Can you talk a bit about when you worked with Paul? And unfortunately, we don't have Paul with us anymore as of last year, but
yeah,
I'll be okay.
Sure. He gave me goose pimples there. I don't know if you would have been there, but I went to his memorial, which was unbelievably elaborate. One of the greatest celebrations of someone's life I've ever seen. Just a constant flow of tears from everybody. But they had massive screens, had many musicians playing, many people would play with them. It was just an onslaught of love for the guy. And he was older than us. Back in the day, he needed a band, post Blue Peter and all that jazz. And he spied my friends and I, who were all fairly dexterous on our instruments and creative weirdos. And he just pulled us all together, and we rehearsed and did gigs at places like the Phoenix, which might have been called the Diamond. Do you remember the Diamond Club? Back then? So maybe that's a story for you. But I don't know if that counts, a name change. But Paul was just an amazingly charismatic dude with a natural musicality and coolness and energy in the room. Someone that you just had to tilt your chin up when he walked in the room, but he was also humble as hell and so loving. And the looks he'd give you in rehearsal, and the guy was unbelievably bright and intelligent and eloquent. And I know that it sounds like I'm pouring it on to this.
No,
he's passed away, but it's all true. He was a gem of a guy, and a fantastic dancer. And he let us play. He really let us do our thing, and great band leader. And I know that later on he did some more intimate things. Like, we were more of a rock band for him back then, but yeah, miss him, and it's very tragic.
Yeah, as a front man, I mean, I put him up there with, and I know there's visually similar, but with Brian Ferry, just owned the stage when he was in front of it, right?
Yeah, and you just can't buy that. I've never met anyone else in my life that had what he had, even in the rehearsal. He just. Bizarre. I can't describe it. It's a physical thing, but it's way beyond physicality.
Yeah. Really, well, thank you for sharing that, because when I made a note of that, because I wanted to talk to you about that.
Yeah.
So one of the questions I like to ask before we're wrapping up is, what's in your earbuds or your headphones or your speakers or whatever lately? Like, what are you listening to that people should be checking out?
Oh boy. Well, to be honest, I perfectly honest, Stravinsky right now. And I think that some of Stravinsky's pieces have just unbelievably heavy rocking bass and timpani, and moments that are kick Metallica's ass or Led Zeppelin's ass. I mean, I feel like Beethoven was the first heavy metal dude, and then Stravinsky took it up a notch, kind of thing. So not that I'm pushing just for the heavy metal, but just the aggression and teeth in Stravinsky's work is killer for anyone who likes heavy music. And then his harmonic clusters of tones, is anyone wants something more sophisticated, and it's all there in one piece. But I'm trying to think of other things that are a little bit more. I mean, Prince is always not far from me, and I really dig his Love Sexy album. I mean, all of it I dig. But gosh, I'm kind of forming a blank. One thing I recently discovered was She Wants Revenge. It's some super naughty tunes, like I Want to Tear You Apart, and a few other. I don't know if you know those tunes, but they're great for the right night.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It's funny you mentioned from the classical side, because I think of Dvorak to be similar with that, with
right.
Like just a rockin', like almost bluesy at times. It's just like, and again, pre-blues, but it's just like
heavy vibes.
Like you can see where some of those sounds went into the music we listen to today. You listen back at it, you go, that's a blues riff. That's happening right there. That's a blues riff right there. Anyway.
Hey, may I mention one more band? There's a really cool spin-off band called the Licorice Quartet. Have you guys heard of them?
No.
I think they've just done EPs, and they'll put songs out on YouTube, that kind of thing. But some diverse stuff, really smart, really fantastic harmonies. But one of the guys, Roger Joseph Manning Jr., he plays as a sideman with Beck. And he was in a band called Jellyfish back in the day. So it's his side project with some other really talented guys, the Licorice Quartet. Worth checking out. Really tasty, quality stuff.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Harkness, thank you so much for joining us. This has been a blast getting to learn more about you.
Yeah.
If people want to find out more, go to harknessmusic.com. You got videos up there. You got music up there. Gregg's hot sauce is up there.
Buy the hot sauce.
Your history with the stars, not stars, is up there.
Exactly. All the history, all the goodies are there. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been fun.
Very, very welcome. Thank you so much for having me. I hope we do it again. I hope we can meet in person.